Discovering Alabama is a production of the Alabama Museum of Natural History.
Once upon a time, in a not-so-far-away place, schooling was welcomed with a polite embrace, and teaching took a more simple pace. Then came a time the school grew and grew, schooling now measured by rules all anew, and teachers now busy with much more to do. In this once and present land not far away, the children would learn where the children would play. It's a land we know as Alabama today.
Hi, I'm Doug Phillips. The earliest days of my education were spent in a little schoolhouse not unlike this one-room relic. And actually it wasn't all that long ago. The schools of today are separated from the schools of the past, not as much by time as by size. They're separated by how and what we teach. And they're separated by the different roles they play in our changing world.
But some things never change. In this once and present land we call Alabama, we are abundantly blessed with the grand realm of nature. And even amidst a rapidly changing world, there are many basics of learning, many principles of good schooling that are available to us in the rich classroom of the out of doors.
Join me for a special story as we take a look at some old methods of good teaching and some new methods of good teaching. Methods that draw upon the timeless connection between the community of people and the community of nature.
And I'm guessing that the flowers are still growing.
This program is about a land unknown to many people, a land that in many ways has maintained its native natural wonders, a place of bountiful backcountry, forests, streams, and wildlife more diverse than can be found in much of the inhabited world. Come along with me as we explore the wild wonders of this land. Come along as we discover Alabama.
Welcome to Discovering Alabama, and welcome to a true story that begins, like any good story, with once upon a time.
Once upon a time, there was a man and a dog. This man and his dog set out upon a journey, an adventure into a land unknown to many people, a magical realm of bountiful backcountry, forests, streams, and wildlife. Along the way, they encountered many fascinating people, and the people that fascinated them the most were the children.
Open up this package right here.
But these fascinating children, smart as they were, they could not go it alone. They needed guides, preceptors, teachers. Throughout our travels, we've had the great good fortune to visit with teachers who exemplify the timeless art of connecting learning with life. Teachers who inspire young minds through active learning inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Teachers who recognize that no matter how technologically proficient we become, there's one inescapable reality. We are creatures of the natural world.
Everything happens. You can experience everything outside. Inside you talk about it. Outside you do it.
Okay. Now they want to ask you some questions. You can come back down.
I like to be outside to study things because it has more space and more things to learn. I learned about flowers. I learned about teaching. I learned about solving problems. Because they make nectar honey. The bees make the honey, which is very important for us. This butterfly bush is very healthy.
Certainly the idea that Alabama provides a natural classroom full of wonderful opportunities for learning is not new. Since discovering Alabama began in 1985, this has been an underlying theme of every episode of our series. But a lot has changed since 1985.
From its earliest days as a state, Alabama has played an important role in the global economy. Early on, that meant exporting our agricultural products to the world. Today, agricultural exports share the world stage with other products and with services and technologies from Alabama. And everything these days, including agriculture, is dependent upon scientific and technological advances. More importantly, today's economy is dependent upon people who can put science and technology to work.
As we look to the future, science is going to play a critical part, not just in education in Alabama, but in a child's future, because as this generation of young people grow up, either attend college, junior college, or go straight into the work field, they're going to have more science skills based on a good foundation of reading and then math in order to get a job and hold a job.
Well, the future for good jobs in Alabama rests with math and science. We know that. As you know, the state has a brand new initiative, AMSTI, that encourages math and science, and we have many other good programs that are now rolling out across the state.
Science, technology. In the postmodern world, how do we still find a place for the natural classroom that is Alabama's outdoors?
What we have been trying to do is get more and more of the teachers in this state comfortable with going outside with their students, doing hands-on activities with them, getting dirty, getting wet, playing with the bugs. The fun part of that is that the teachers get just as excited as their students do now once they actually get outside and start doing those things.
Everything that we can do outdoors, every activity can have something to do with an academic subject. It's all intertwined. You don't separate nature from academics.
When you get the kids out in the woods, the feet stop padding, they stop, jumping and bouncing around, and you just see their eyes get a little bit wider, and they start looking around and pointing and asking a lot of questions. And so it's a natural classroom, and it's one of the best experiences you can have.
They would much rather be outside than inside. They enjoy getting out in the fresh air. They have a lot more freedom, and we're able to do a lot more things with them outside. They aren't as confined and don't have to be as quiet. They get to explore on their own and to discover nature around them.
And some yours. That's why trees lose their leaves sometimes, but that's why they have so many leaves.
This one's going to be a real nice cabin. They're really going to enjoy that. You planning this one? Are you sure? Put your name on it?
It should come as no surprise that the natural world is a ready vehicle for teaching such subjects as math and science. After all, math and science came out of mankind's ambition to better understand the world around us. But it seems the more we understand our world, the more we change our world.
Rural communities that once thrived have seen their populations dwindle. Here in the early 21st century, for the first time in its history, Alabama's rural population is outnumbered by its urban population. Meanwhile, many of Alabama's urban areas continue to grow rapidly, attracting ever-expanding populations. The shifting demographics and resulting social upheaval have placed new demands on our schools. Reading, writing, arithmetic are not enough anymore. Nowadays, we're looking to our schools to fill non-traditional needs.
When I was a kid going to school in a little country schoolhouse like this, when I stayed after school, well, let's just say it was never my choice to stay after school, that 3 o'clock bell would ring and I was out the door and into the woods.
In today's hustle and bustle world, there are all manner of distractions, and in many cases, working parents cannot be home when school's let out. So today, the 3 o'clock bell often rings in an after-school program, providing our children with extra school time and added teacher assistance.
There are several latchkey kids in our program. They would be going home to an empty house and possibly getting into trouble. Instead, they're coming here, they're having fun, they're learning, even though they don't realize they're learning math, they learn English, they learn language, spelling. There's all sorts of things that are incorporated into these enrichment activities.
Parents need a safe place. We think they're the second best place. The best place is the home. A good home with good parents, a good family, and a good community to play and get their homework up, that's the first choice. But we're a state and a nation of single-parent families, of two-parent working families, and quite often the child is left alone.
It would be easy to overlook the potential of extended day and extended year programs, to maybe pass them off as glorified babysitting. But Alabama is leading the nation in making these programs very much more. In Alabama, we're making the extended day an extension of learning. And we're doing it by presenting learning as fun.
The paper towel. Why? Because it sucks the dirt out and
The 21st Century Learning Grants are designed to engage communities and students and link those together for after-school programs and initiatives that will complement what's going on during the school day.
We work closely with the day classes. We find out what they're working on, and sometimes we take their subjects and draw it out into after school. And we do it in maybe a different way, but we carry out the same thing. And then they tell us that their grades are affected by coming out here because they have a lot of one-on-one time with the teachers and tutors.
Another key point of the program is enrichment activities. Basically, we try and expose the children to activities or things that they may not normally be exposed to, such as this garden. Before they started working in this garden, they had absolutely no idea where the vegetables came from in their markets. This is a cabbage plant, and you notice that some of the leaves, no rats, no by caterpillar, by larvae, by different worms that like to eat this. That like to eat the different leaves.
The 21st Century Grant, we have several different schools that this is involved with.
Let's talk about what we are going to do while we're outside, okay?
And we do after-school programs, and we're doing a summer program now, and we really help with academics. We do the homework help with after-school, and then we also do some fun stuff too, and learn life skills, how to get along better with your peers, those type of things. It's a really good program for kids to be involved with.
You think we can transfer them to the table?
Experienced educators have seen it all. From the White House to the State House, everyone is for education. With the best of intentions, new programs are initiated, new slogans are coined. And while we would all wish to leave no child behind, how about this? How about we leave no teacher behind?
Because ultimately, it is the teacher that makes education relevant. Relevant to the student, relevant to the community.
Education does not end for the child at school. It's the entire community that supports education and helps our students to understand the value of education.
Well, I think community means bringing everybody together in every aspect of life to make sure that we can get the most productive outcome that we can on anything that we're working on.
It's a partnership. Education is a partnership.
As a production of the Alabama Museum of Natural History, in cooperation with Alabama Public Television, Discovering Alabama has always had as a primary goal to provide teachers with a resource they can use as they teach our children.
Now, with the assistance of the Alabama Department of Education's community education specialists, we are able to bring our experience to extended day and extended year programs. This is not just another initiative to suit the politics of the day. No, we're addressing some very practical purposes. Appropriately named Project Community, this is a specially designed project that brings training and resources to after-school programs.
Project Community is going to open up a wonderful new way to involve the science field and support the math and the reading initiatives, but take us to that next level where our state's going with science. And again, make science become something fun, something that our kids can say, I can do this.
Project Community has been working closely with the 21st Century Community Learning Centers, and we're constantly building up that partnership and those relations, trying to get some sort of synergy going on between the two organizations to really feed off each other and really support one another.
We also have an outdoor garden outside, which is not only community-based, but the parents actually love it because the children are involved in it. They're keeping journals of the outdoor garden. We're also developing an outdoor amphitheater through the Alabama Wildlife Federation, the Alabama Wildlife Federation site. We produce doctors, we produce lawyers from that area. We have produced entrepreneurs, so I know that those children can excel. So it's things like that that has made me proud of those students and proud that I'm there in that community, and made me proud to know that they're able to do anything that anybody else can do.
Project Community brings together schools from the Department of Education's 21st Century Community Learning Centers, expertise from the Alabama Museum of Natural History, the educational outreach of Alabama Public Television, and many other groups and educational institutions from across the state.
Well, I think teachers can benefit in many ways. For one thing, I think if we all partner together and come together with the common message, it's much less confusing. It's a lot less information overload. Alabama classroom teachers are already just maxed out as it is, and I think to consolidate the message is going to make teachers more receptive to that message.
Alabama teachers might also get excited about another plus that can be part of an after-school program.
And they think that if they're the loudest, they're the winners.
Our program does require parental involvement. It requires that the parents be active in the children's academic performance. We set goals with our families. We set plateaus for them to reach, both academically and with the parents.
What excites me most is that the teachers involved in this 21st Century Learning Center program are taking full advantage of the wild wonders of Alabama.
And basically what we're doing with Project Community is training the teachers to go back to your schools and use all of these activities with your students in your after-school Project Community program. And incorporate this into your classroom. What are some of the things you can gather just from this hike and coming down to this beautiful waterfall?
Good. And how would you explain to the child that this is a Christmas fern?
Most animals are going to be doing what this time of day? Finding a cool spot. Have we been in some of those spots today? Down in here, curled up in these rocks, hiding someplace because they can get in, stay cool. Then tonight, when the sun goes down, they're going to be coming out. And of course, animals that come out of that we call what?
Nocturnal. Okay, I haven't been able to find you a snake yet, but we do have a salamander. It's an amphibian. It has to stay near the water because it has to breathe through its skin. This is a two-line salamander, one that's common out here in the woodlands. This is the female.
While Project Community relies heavily on good, old-fashioned hands-on learning, we've got some newfangled technologies at work too.
This is the pith.
For example, Ask the Expert is a web-based connection to the best scientific minds in Alabama. Through the Discovering Alabama website, a student, a teacher, anyone for that matter, can upload a photo for identification, or they can simply ask a question. Biologists, geologists, zoologists, physicists, entomologists, astronomers, scientists from across the state review the questions daily and respond with their knowledge. Our good friend Mark Bailey, for instance, is an expert on frogs, snakes, all manner of reptiles and amphibians. From his little cabin deep in the longleaf forests of Covington County, he answers questions and identifies photos related to herpetology.
Now, such programs as those of Alabama's 21st Century Learning Centers, with their emphasis on active involvement with the community, with direct connections to the community, if those methods are so effective after school, why not apply these methods during the regular school day? In fact, that's what a number of Alabama schools are doing.
I think that anything we can do in this state to link those two efforts is the right way to approach tackling the problem, and I think we're on the right track with that. And I'm very encouraged by what I see taking place in the state through the 21st Century Learning Grants and how the after-school programs embed within, quote, the fun part, how we expand the curriculum in science.
It's not just a textbook. It's not just reading out of that or working on a worksheet. It's really hands-on, minds-on. And as we take those things, we can relate. For example, trees. One of the modules we work with kindergarten is about trees. Well, let's look at common trees of Alabama. Let's take a walk outside. Let's relate what that curriculum is talking about to make it meaningful to their community and the world around them.
Ideally, to be able to incorporate this into part of our teacher education program so that our teachers are prepared to teach this way, particularly with our K-5 teachers. They will incorporate what they learn hands-on in every subject that they teach. So the science and the social studies and the math and the language arts are all taught together to make that a whole child. And to me, getting this into our colleges of teacher education and training them is ideally where I'd like to see us go.
Once upon a time, there was a man and a dog. This man and his dog set out on a journey, an adventure across a remarkable land called Alabama. Along the way, they encountered many fascinating people, and the people that fascinated them the most were the children. How these children could laugh and play. How these children could learn. How these children could so quickly connect the new ways to the old ways. But these children, smart as they were, they could not go it alone. They needed guides, teachers.
It has been and continues to be my honor, my privilege to work with so many of these teachers. And I may be a bit biased, but it's also been my observation that the best of these teachers are the ones that relate learning to the greater world. The natural world, sure, but also the world of technology. In other words, the best teachers unite the community of nature with the community of people with that special community that is the teacher and the students.
If we saw something that was black, the butterflies would see it white. This would be pink. We just came out here to plant, and we were planting corn, seeds, tomatoes, and sweet peppers. Sometimes I think I have a big imagination. Or some. Didn't I? Third. Okay. You want to write about that one? You found it.
Then half ounce in between.
Here, probably made out of. But sometimes.
Okay. Name on the bottom left corner.
I ain't got you there. I'm just.
Discovering Alabama is a production of the Alabama Museum of Natural History, the University of Alabama. This program is supported by grants from the Solon and Martha Dixon Foundation, the Alabama Wildlife Federation, working for wildlife since 1935, the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, State Lands Division, and Shelton State Community College. It's all about results.